imagine what this man's world was like over the last 3 weeks. But his team is 2-1. They are the defending National Football Conference champions, and they are taking on the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football. Always great to chat with one of my favorite people that I've gotten to meet in the NFL, John Lynch, General Manager, San Francisco 49ers. How are you, John?
I'm doing great. I came on to the last part of the aging app. I think
Yes.
Being an NFL GM is like the real life version of the aging app.
I mean, John, have you reviewed? Did you step on any cracks? Walk on any ladders? Have you taken stock in what you've done and everybody's how they feel? Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I'll give you the floor here on what's happened to your roster.
You can't play. I've been around this game long enough that just it happens, and every year you think, well, this is unprecedented. It really isn't. It happens each and every year, and you just hope that it doesn't happen. You certainly hope that it's not your team, and I think what happened with us, you look back to that Jets game, we had some very prominent players, and that's probably been the thing that's different this year. There's always guys that go with ACLs and stuff, but we've had some of the better players in the league, and we had one in Bosa, and then there's one play in between, and then Solomon Thomas does the same thing. So that was emotional for our team and all that, and we've had a number of other guys, and We've had to use the short-term IR a little too much this year, but hopefully that settles down. And what I feel good about is our depth has been tested and our resolve has been tested. And I think our guys on this last road trip really stepped up to the challenge. And Kyle Shanahan and his staff just did a tremendous job of getting whoever was out there ready to play. And we got 2 big wins, and you need them all. So we're feeling good about where we're at.
No doubt. I mean, you want to talk about character building, that would have to do that. And also making sure everyone understands that the next man up is not just a phrase, like it's literally have to be a way of life. And, when you talk about the body, actual body injuries, it had to have been out of body than to go to West Virginia, to go to a totally different spot and be there for a week. What was that like in between games, John?
It was actually great. I think back to we've had in the last 2 seasons 3 occasions where we've gone. We went to Youngstown, Ohio last year after week 1 in Tampa, and then we went and played really well versus the Cincinnati Bengals and really got after them. Later in the season, we lost a tight one at Baltimore in the rain. Went down to IMG in Florida and beat the Saints in just a fantastic game down in New Orleans, and then this year we had the back-to-back New York games, and we find the Greenbrier, as a place that's had teams before. It's hosted training camps. The facilities are just phenomenal, and we beat the Jets, and then we come and really play well and beat a Giants team, and did it in a really good fashion. But I think the theme, as much as we don't like being away from our families and all that, the long road trips, I think it gives you a time to get closer as a team. There's a lot of downtime, when you're in these weeks, and they're busy, but just a lot of good time to really bond as a team. And so I think that's the benefit we've found in that. It also gives our coaches, when you're at a hotel or at a facility like that, the nights become later, and their genius comes to the forefront. So, in those games, I think they do a great job of getting our players ready each week, but it gives them even more time. So there is some benefit, and we've seen to play well when we've had the opportunity to stay out for a couple weeks.
John Lynch here on the Rich Eisen Show, and before we get to the here and now, just again, the 2 stints in MetLife Stadium, obviously a lot was made about the turf and by your team, and it wasn't an excuse or anything like that. You did come up with W's. I mean, do you still think that the turf was somehow problematic, negligent, even though it did pass a test, John?
Yeah, I think our team was in a rough state. They care about their teammates a lot, and we had lost a number of players in that game, and I don't think anyone said something that was out of line. I think they said what was on their heart at the time, and I credit the league, the PA, they all listened and they went and did a thorough investigation. I think that helped clear our players' minds. There's some things we can't run from that, on artificial surfaces, there's a greater risk. It's just the facts. And so, J.C. Treader came out yesterday and called for all grass fields. I can't blame him. I'm with him, in fact. And so I hope that's, I know over like in the Premier League, their players, they refuse to play on anything but it. I don't know if we're to that. I hope someday we can get there. And that's we got to do everything we can to keep our most important assets and the guys that make the game, the players, healthy. And I think that would be a great step.
Well, again, you're referring to the Browns center and NFLPA president J.C. Treader in a recent newsletter saying, "Hey, let's have the NFL put only natural grass out there, no more synthetic turf." And maybe right now, when facilities aren't being used very much other than by NFL teams, maybe now's the time to do it. I mean, do you think that would be at all possible?
Well, there's
John?
challenges to it, no doubt. You think of like SoFi Stadium, a new stadium, and what the challenge there, I would imagine, is it gets played on every week, because you got the Chargers, you got the Rams, but I know there's other places, in Vegas, they roll that stuff in on trays, and I think it can be done, and I think our league will work towards that, and I'm hopeful that we can get to a point in the near future where that's something we're striving for, and it becomes a reality.
Did you like playing on? You like playing on grass more than the hard stuff, right, John? I mean, you can bring that to the equation too in a way that other GMs can't.
Yeah, I hate being that guy, but I mean, I played on the old Philly, the vet. Third base would pop up and grab you. So, we played on dirt infields and stuff. So we've come a long way from there, and that's right. That's what makes me hopeful.
The old seams, right? The third base, they would fill it in. I remember that was one of the most famous moments in Hard Knocks history. It was like when the Ravens and Billick went out there and basically said, "We're not playing on this thing right now." But obviously that we've come a long way. And I've got John Lynch here on the Rich Eisen Show, and not to turn you into a news anchor and updater, but you do have a ton of information that I think a lot of fans want to know about your players. Kittle's back at practice, correct? So he's going to go on Sunday night, right? We're going to see him.
Kittle's done a great job, like he does in everything in life, just attacking his rehab, and he's looked good out at practice, and we're hopeful that continues to progress in the right direction. So it's going to be great to have George out there.
James G. What about Jimmy? What about Jimmy G? What do you think?
Jimmy did not practice yesterday. We'll see if he transitions into practice, but right now it's looking like it might be another week, but we've got a little extra time with the Sunday night game, and so Jimmy's going to do exactly what you'd expect him to do. He's a tough kid, plays with a tremendous mentality, and he's working his hardest, and there are some issues with that ankle where it's just tough, and he'd be compromised, and we'll never put him in a position where he's compromised out there.
What about Raheem?
Go ahead, Rich.
What about Raheem Mostert, John? What about him?
Raheem, I think, still questionable. He's working hard. He was out running to the side yesterday. Best thing for the Mosterts, they had a new baby boy last week, and so we're thrilled for them. And he got to be home and see that, so we're happy for them. But in the midst of that, he's been dealing with a little MCL sprain. He's working hard to get back, and I think questionable is the best way to term his status for this week.
What about Richard Sherman? What about him, John? Do we see him?
Sherman is still on the short-term IR, so has another week. He's eligible to return next week, and he can open his practice window. But he's doing well, and he's such a great player, such a great presence for our team. We're eagerly awaiting his return. The thing about him, he's so much said about Richard, and I've always had the utmost of respect. I've known him back when he was a receiver at Stanford, and I tend not to listen to all the bluster, but watch what happens. And he's always just been a great player. And what we found here is a great teammate. He cares about his teammates, and I think that shows when you aren't out there. He's still leading these guys, so it's been awesome having Sherm around, and we can't wait till he's back out here playing with us.
And again, I apologize to continue to turn you into like a who's up, who's down, but I mean, your star player, I mean, the number of players, I don't need to obviously remind you, but what about Deebo Samuel? When do you think he returns to the
Well,
to
Deebo
action?
was on the practice field yesterday,
Okay.
and it was very encouraging. He's worked very, very tirelessly to come back. I know he was disappointed that he wasn't there from the start of this season, but I think we had to be smart about that. He was on the practice field yesterday, looked good. If that continues to go in the right direction, there's a chance he could be out there, this weekend. So we're very encouraged where Deebo Samuel is. And
D Ford is headed to IR, correct? He's there. He's landed there.
Likely.
Okay.
He's struggling with some of that back stuff, and that's difficult. So he's struggling there, and likely going to be the scenario where he can go to the IR. And because of COVID, we have that 3-week IR at our disposal, and
right.
It's helpful in situations like that to be able to get a guy right. And so, we're just praying that can reverse kind of what's going on right now and can get back out there and help us. He's a fantastic player when he's on the field.
Do you need me to light a candle for you so all religions can pull together, John? I mean, do you have like a story that you could tell us about how deep down the rock, like your lists of people to keep an eye on that you've gone over the last 2-3 weeks at all, or no? I mean.
Well, I think the one thing, first of all, I think I'm real proud of our staff, the way they've been finding guys to come in here and compete and play, and the depth of our team has been tested, but I think we've answered the bell. I think that if anything fortunate about what COVID has caused the league to do, we've got a bigger practice squad this year, so that's allowed us some things. We talked about the 3-week IR. It's given you some flexibility to be able to maneuver around, and but more important than anything is just the mindset that, hey, you can't feel sorry for yourself. Your opponents sure aren't going to, and so we've got plenty of players. We got a lot of players that are very, very capable. We went out and showed that the last couple of weeks, and we'll continue to do that and not use something that's really been an issue around the league right now, a lot of early injuries as an excuse. It is what it is, and we got to go fight through it, and that's the mindset of our team.
Well, you know me, John. That was my way of fishing to see if you were looking at me for a speed position in any way, shape, or form. That was my way of saying how close was I to getting the call from you, John.
Well, you improve every year, right?
Thank you. That's what I was. That's really all I was looking for, right there. Unbelievable. But before I do let you go, I want to give you the floor on what's going on in Tennessee and how you might use this as I don't want to. I guess I say cautionary tale, not to imply anything about Tennessee. They're following the protocols. We're assumed just like everyone else, and it happens. There's just no way, I guess, to prevent it. I'm wondering what you're thinking as you know about your colleague and John Robinson there, and obviously this team that's 3-0. What do you think of when you hear this news out of Tennessee, John?
Well, I think that what the league has done to this point has been a remarkable success. I mean, the lack of infection rate and the way that everybody has taken on this challenge, which it's a monumental challenge, Rich. The protocols that have gone on, we're asked to do more with less people, and I can't tell you enough about our staff and the people who have worked tirelessly, and that goes around the league. And I know John Robinson and the tight ends have done their best, and I don't think in these, it's a pandemic, so it's no one's fault. But I think what this has caused is, you need these cautionary tales to remind everybody that we have to remain vigilant, and then it also has said, okay, let's plan for the unforeseen, and hopefully that never happens to us. But if it does happen, how are we going to respond? And so that's what this year. I mean, the amount of time spent in things that are non-football has been an all-time high. But that's what the job's calling for right now, and we'll continue to face that. And the league's doing their best to try to keep everyone safe, and I really think they've done an outstanding job, as have the teams. And so this is a little bump in the road and not something anyone wanted to have, but I think they're doing the best they can given the situation.
John, best to your family. Always appreciate you taking my call and coming on here. I do always enjoy our chats and catching up with you.
Well, I always enjoy being on with you. Thanks a lot, Rich, and best to your family.
Same to you. That's John Lynch, general manager of the San Francisco 49ers, hosting the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football from what appears to be, as we're sitting here right now, with big Nick Mullins getting another start. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.